Welcome back to Breakfast Central. We're still reporting here live from Lagos, Nigeria, and we are looking at a recent story that has come up. The Socioeconomic Rights and Accountability Project has filed a lawsuit against Nigeria's president, President Muhammadu Buhari, over his failure to probe allegations that over 1.48 trillion naira reportedly spent on maintaining the country's four refineries between 2015 and 2020 may have been stolen, mismanaged, or diverted into private pockets. According to Serap, the government reportedly spent 10.23 billion naira in June 2020 on three refineries that processed zero crude. Also in 2021, the government approved $1.5 billion, that's about 600 billion naira, to repair the Port Harcourt refinery.
And despite the huge spending, the refineries are still not working while fuel scarcity persists. Serap is, however, seeking an order of mandamus to direct and compel Buhari to investigate the spending on Nigeria's refineries and alleged mismanagement of public funds budgeted for maintaining the refineries since 1999. And now joining us live is Serap's Deputy Director, Kolawole Oluwadari. Welcome to Breakfast Central of our phone. Good morning, Ms. Oluwadari.
Good morning.
Is joining us via phone. Quickly tell us about the suit filed against the president and why it has become necessary that you take such a step.
Thank you very much. The suit is coming on the heels of what we've experienced as Nigerians over the years, and the one that is currently going on in Abuja persists. The lack of petroleum products, the international queues, the scarcity that comes in once in a while. It's almost like Christmas, except that in this instance, it comes more than once in a year in Nigeria. And this borders on two issues with transparency and accountability and socioeconomic rights. And you can call it the lack of these two issues in Nigeria. So that is the issue of the amount that has been spent on petroleum products over the years for the downstream and the upstream sector, which is really shrouded in a form of opacity. The figures are really not clear, except the ones the NNPC churns out from time to time. And against that background, conversely, is also the economic rights of Nigeria. You would understand the role that power plays in both the economy at the lower levels and at the upper levels. And so you would see that the lack of transparency and accountability in the management of these resources, which is our number one key earner, and then the Nigerian people do not even enjoy this right enough to be economically empowered. And that is why we've taken the steps to compel the president, who has a statutory duty, both under the Constitution and even under the oath of office it took, among other laws, to compel the anti-corruption agencies working with the Attorney General of the Federation to prove this allegation. And it goes beyond allegations. These are the facts that we see for ourselves. Despite the huge spending on the refineries, why are they not working? Why do we still have to import fuel? And why do we have scarcity in the first place? That is what this is bordered on. So we are basically asking the court to compel the president to do his statutory duties. These are not duties Serap thinks he should do. These are the duties that the Constitution says that he should do.
All right. Kola, let's talk about Serap taking the president to court on several issues. This isn't the first time. But what would you say has been the outcome of the previous issues that Serap has taken to the president to court for? And what's your assessment so far on the roles of civil society groups in defending good governance, amongst others?
Thank you very much. I would think you would refer to, so progress in this instance, I'll call it outcomes of those public interest litigation may mean progress in the courts as we go from face to face. I mean, it would also ultimately result in a win. So the outcomes of the public interest suits we filed over the years, we've had various judgments which are yet to be enforced by God. But that doesn't mean we'll stop in our advocacy to have the rule of law enthroned in Nigeria. And we also have some of our cases that are dragging because of the peculiar nature of the judiciary that we have in Nigeria. Well, we are making the best of it. And you would understand that we do this because as responsible Nigerians, first and foremost, and being members of the civil society organizations, we owe these obligations to ourselves and the Nigerian people to hold government to account, which brings us to the role of society organizations in Nigeria. Such organizations have been doing a lot. Really, if you ask me, more than government, who has all the powers, both statutory and economic and financial, state power to do what they should do. So in this instance, civil society organizations, you can say the bear the collective will of the people to hold the government to account, which is a civic duty that each citizen owes the government. So the civic duty of the citizen goes beyond just paying tax and goes beyond just voting at elections. Civic engagement and participation means in between the polls every 4 years, we hold our elected or appointed representatives to account for the things the law says they should, and for the promises they made that they will do. And that is what we've seen most of society organizations, including Serap, do from time to time on matters of public interest.
Okay, I also want you to speak on something, that was part of the newsletter from Serap. Basically, there's no conversation whatsoever with regards finding out what led to pollution of imported petrol into the country a few months ago. The current Nigerian government has not asked any questions, has not, made anyone answer those questions. And it's part of the things that Serap is also putting forward to the Nigerian government. And so does it feel, in some way like you are flogging a dead horse, because you are telling the Nigerian government, who knows that it should have asked questions as to who imported bad petrol into the country, but has stayed silent. So does it feel like you might be flogging a dead horse here, or, forcing things that the government is not interested in even taking, seriously?
No, that is not the case. As part of the prayers, the release, we're asking the court, what we're asking the court to do is not only to identify those who are suspected to have imported the fuel, which of course is in the public domain, but you should understand that in court, the court works with evidence. So, in prosecuting these individuals, evidence will be placed before the court. Secondly, and I think most importantly, is the remedial action to ensure there is effectual remedies for the affected victims of the bad petrol. So a lot of Nigerians, including myself as a person, experienced what the bad petrol did to their vehicles at that time. Up till now, there has been no action taken to either identify those victims and to compensate them for the losses. And so what does that say about the Nigerian state? When clearly even individuals will be responsible to other individuals if their rights are infringed on. In this case, these are rights guaranteed by the Constitution, and then they infringe the right of those individuals who had to spend lots of money to either repair their cars or get other forms of transportation because the petrol that was imported by government-approved agents and damage their cars. So that is why we're asking. And I don't think it's not flogging a dead horse. So if we have the message being clear that we have the individuals that have been named, the proper thing would be for government to take steps to start the procedure of identifying victims. People would have to come forward with facts and evidence to justify their claims and to ensure that those individuals who have imported the bad fuel compensate those victims for their losses. It's only just natural. Unfortunately, we have to go to court for this. This is something that may not end up in court as public interest litigation. These are the rights that are welcome. For every action that association lost to someone else, then naturally that party must be liable. And I'm sure the court will agree with us in this regard.
All right, Kola, let's talk about the work that you're doing and this suit. Would you say that you're in collaboration with other civil society or other like minds on the struggle? And what would you say is the role of the media as the watchdog of this society?
Thank you very much. And that's exactly what we're doing presently. We're having a conversation. So you're amplifying the issues. You're not only informing Nigerians as it were, you're amplifying the issues in the public domain to make sure that Nigerians are not just informed, they are informed enough to make decisions. And those decisions mean civic participation and civic engagement to hold the elective and appointed public officers responsible for these actions. But what we've seen, unfortunately, is that reality on ground does not encourage the kind of work that we do, either as civil society organizations or you as the media do, even though they are constitutionally guaranteed right. The freedom of expression and access to information is constitutionally guaranteed and also guaranteed by several charters, conventions, including the African Charter that the Nigerian government has signed on to. But in practical terms, we have a state that acts more to breach this right than take steps to protect this right, which is why I really appreciate what the media in Nigeria and what you have been doing. It's very great, operating under adverse circumstances, you can call it that, in a growing constricting civic space. But we should continue to amplify the issues and to make sure that Nigerians get informed beyond the tribal, political, or whatever petty concerns that really do not affect their economic rights to make enough decisions. You know, another election year is coming, and the politicians have started already campaigning. Campaigning might not have started formally, but we've seen all the orchestrating and all the political activities going on. So Nigerians more than ever need to be informed with objective, real information.
Yeah.
For them to not only make choices at the polls, but to continue to hold government to account after the polls. And I think you guys are doing this.
All right, thank you very much, Kola Oluwadare, Deputy Director of Serap. When I checked, I hear that there's no date fixed for hearing of the suit. We hope that we can have you back on the show when we have some updates in this regard.